Once again, good voting numbers from West Bengal. Anything in particular? Are we seeing a tight contest in West Bengal? That's the reason you see more and more people participate in the dance of democracy.
Well, good evening, Anil. That's absolutely right. Perhaps it's a tight contest in West Bengal in almost all the seats that have gone to polls in this particular phase, which is the phase 4. There were 8 seats that went to polls in this particular phase. There were many heavyweight candidates that tested their fate amongst the electorates. Of course, it was a tightly fought contest mainly between the BJP and the Trinamool Congress, barring one seat, which is the Baharampur Lok Sabha constituency, where the direct fight was between the Congress and the Trinamool Congress here. And amongst the candidate was, of course, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, who is fighting to defeat the last bastion of the Congress, while the Trinamool Congress fielded Yusuf Pathan, a former cricketer, to take on Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. But coming to your question, Anil, the number of voting percentage in West Bengal has been pretty high for almost all the phases, and for many years. If I even go back to 2014 or even before that, West Bengal has always recorded votings with an above of 80% mark. Right now what data we have from the Election Commission is, of course, at about 676.09% is the latest data that we have. It is likely to increase to about by 3 to 4% more. But we hope that even this time around the overall data will touch 80%. Back to you.
Okay, Mark, you are in Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh had simultaneous Lok Sabha as well as assembly elections. What's been the turnaround there in the first place, the turnout in the first place, and how did people enjoy voting for both the Lok Sabha as well as the assembly elections in one go on one day?
Well, Anil, the voting percentage at 5 p.m. was 68.02%, which is much lower than expected. And the place where I am, which is Visakhapatnam, the largest city, the voter percentage was only about 60%, well below expectations. In 2019, the voter turnout in this state was 80%. So, though it is only, these figures are only till 5 p.m. and voting did carry on for a whole hour after that, the expectations are that it would not go up by another 10%, though perhaps it would. One never knows. I can only say that in the polling station that I was at, even at 5 p.m. when I was around there, I saw that there were queues that were pretty large in the polling booths. So it implied that there were people voting in the evening. We must understand that it has been hot, at least in Visakhapatnam, and people don't vote over a period. They tend to take a little rest in the afternoon and come out in large numbers in the evenings, and in the later evenings, in fact, the city seems to come alive. So perhaps that is one of the reasons why we didn't see enough voter turnout towards the afternoons time. But we are hoping that, in fact, the Chief Electoral Officer of the state had hoped that the voter percentage would go up to 83% in this election, but it is only 68% at the time of 5 p.m. and one is not sure whether, this is a setback or not.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Let's shift to Uttar Pradesh. We've got Siddharth joining us. Siddharth, looking at Uttar Pradesh on a whole, and many seats in particular which had the regional satraps or heavyweights fighting. How do you see this particular election play out, especially in those states, where the political heavyweights were contesting?
Well, definitely a very good evening to you, Anil, and there had been a high-octane battle out here as far as the election, the Lok Sabha elections are concerned, the general elections 2024, specifically if I talk about the seat in Kannauj, then this is one of the seats, to watch out for as far as the, amongst all the 13 seats that went to polls this time around in phase 4th, because Akhilesh Yadav was contesting from here, and that too after 12 long years. This has been a den of Yadavs, this has been a den of a Samajwadi Party, and since 1998 till 2019, they held this place really, firmly. And on the other hand, BJP fielded Subrata Pathak from this particular particular region. like I say, the battle is real, and this time the BJP will try. They'll eye a resounding win. They will definitely try to win from this place. On the other hand, Akhilesh Yadav will try. You fight it out to get the lost fort. He has been MP from this seat since thrice continuously in 2000, 2004, and 2009. So battle here is very intense. If I talk about where I am right now, Anil, it's Kanpur. And if I specifically talk about, if I begin with the voting percentage, then there are disappointing numbers, but these are tentative numbers. Last time around, this particular constituency recorded a voter turnout of around 51%, and now it's around 52%, and which is likely to increase, but still the numbers are disappointing. And if I talk about Uttar Pradesh as a whole, then in 2019 the voter turnout was around 59.21%, and right now it's 56%. So if we even increase it by 2 or 3 percentage, if we make it 60, let's assume it's 60, then still the voter turnout is not what we usually expect.
Okay, we'll leave it there. At some places, the voter turnout more than expected, but in many of the regions that went to polls today, the numbers not cobbling to the expectations that were there on the ground. We appreciate all three of you, Dibendu, Siddharth and Mark, for joining us this evening.